And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another Allied Rivals podcast episode. My name is AJ Herschel. Right over there, you've got Cademan, Bauer. We're back talking about the NFL this week. It's power rankings this time. We're 5 weeks in. You know, we thought about doing this like week 3, week 2 or something. But, I mean, at that point, we've only played 2 games, man. Come on. If we did that, the Saints would have been the number 1 team in the NFL after a week or 2 or whatever. So here we are. We're 5 weeks in. We're decently way through the season. Injuries have happened. Teams are starting to find their footing, and we're back. How you doing, Cade?
We're back. It's been a good week. It's just been a good week.
Nice, dude.
How about you, AJ?
Good. I've been tired because I've been doing a lot of stuff, running a lot of errands, doing a lot of projects and stuff. But doing well. Being busy's good, and you know, Georgia, we're number 1 right now. So I'm scared because we've been in this position before, but I'm excited. And we get Kentucky this week. I'm so happy that they beat Florida. I love Kentucky now. They're still undefeated. Kentucky's still undefeated, dude. That's going to be a fun game this week. It's going to be a fun one this week. But I'm doing good. But it's not about college football right now. It's about the NFL.
Let's do it.
So, Cayman, you want to start? You want to start with 10, or you want me to start? It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. I'll start it off with 10. Number
right.
10. Let's just put up the Cleveland Browns, and me and AJ could not decide.
Yeah.
For a while, who to put in these last couple spots, because you know what, some of these teams have been like really weird. Some of them just like really disappointing. Like the Browns, 3-2. They're at the beginning of the season, they were supposed to be like the most complete team in the NFL. Granted, their offense is still looking good. Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb still running things pretty well, but their defense has been. Let's just say they haven't lived up to the hype that they've been given. And I think that's the big reason they've had their 2 losses is that the offense just can't keep up with the defense continually giving up scores.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, at least in their credit, the 2 teams they lost to are the Chargers and the Chiefs. So it's not like they're dropping games to Minnesota or whatever, but still, 14 points against the Vikings 2 weeks ago? That's a little concerning if you're Cleveland. Number 9, staying in the same division, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are one of the pleasant surprises of this year. A lot of us had freaked out thinking Joe Burrow wasn't going to have any protection this year and no defensive help. But this team's they haven't done a horrible job on D. Granted, they haven't played the hardest teams in the world, but they held the Steelers and Najee Harris to 10 points. They took the Packers to overtime. And I mean, they let the Jaguars hang in for way too long in their game. And they got beat by the Bears in a tough game in Soldier, where the defense, that was when their offensive line showed their weaknesses, and Burrow was running for his life for 3 straight quarters before they got garbage time points. But their offense is clicking. T. Higgins is coming back. If Mixon can stay healthy, this could be a good team, especially in the playoffs, Kate. They're clicking. And Jamar Chase, like I said at the beginning of the year, that LSU connection is working out.
Jamar Chase is good.
Oh,
He's good. All righty. Oh, yeah. Well, that brings us to number 8. Getting a little more sure in our picks.
Same division. 3 straight in the same division.
Wow. And, Baltimore Ravens are here. And you know what? Their offense is looking really good. One of the best in the league. Lamar Jackson is finally learning how to throw the ball and run.
Oh, yeah. His Monday night performance against the Colts. Oh,
so good. I mean,
crazy.
He's averaging 300 yards a game for passing, and then their team is averaging 150 yards rushing a game. So it's looking a lot more balanced than it was last year and years past. So that's good for the Ravens, but their defense has not been as good as I had predicted because I thought their defense was just better. I thought their secondary was better.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? There's still plenty of time for them to get going, and their offense has done well enough so far that they should just be able to keep going. So Ravens.
And it's to me, they're like the weirdest 4-1 team in the league right now. They barely beat the Lions. It takes them a comeback to beat the Colts, But then you look and they knock off the Chiefs. This is a second half team. Let's get that straight. They might go down by 2 scores by the end of the first half. But once that fourth quarter comes, no lead is safe against them at all.
Alrighty.
Number 7, we've got the Dallas Cowboys. Another pleasant surprise where all of us again thought their defense ain't going to be that great. And look at this. Team almost beats Bucs week 1. They hold the Chargers, and Justin Herbert, who's looking like he's an MVP candidate, and Austin Eckler is looking like an insane offensive player of the year candidate right now. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders, from Herbert to Eckler to Mike Williams, and they held them to 17 points. And granted, they've had a 3-game stretch of pretty easy games. They got to play the Eagles. They got to play the Giants. They got to play the Panthers, who are maybe the weirdest team in football right now. But they're winning games. Dak is going nuts. He's throwing touchdowns left and right. His wide receiver core is stacked once again. Dalton Schultz is coming out as an actual true target finally. Cowboys look really, really good, Cade.
Yeah, and I think their defense is good enough where they did not need Jalen Smith. Packers got Jalen Smith, and that says something. Their defense has improved a lot since last year. They're not just giving up 50 points a game anymore. Yeah, and it's a nice break for both the defense and offense. So Cowboys are looking good.
Absolutely. Next I'm sure you're excited to talk about number 6.
Packers, number 6. Yep. And it's been weird for the Packers so far because we have played some. Well, we got whooped by the Saints somehow in week 1, but that's irrelevant because that's like week 4 of the preseason, right, AJ? Yeah. That's what you said. We don't care about
using my own words against me.
Because if we did, then never mind. We'll talk about that later. But you know what? We beat the 49ers, took care of some other teams that what we did. What am I trying to say? We did what we should have done to them against the worst teams. And then the Bengals game was just weird. Mason Crosby has these games every 2 or 3 years where he'll just miss a few field goals. And this was the one. It'll just get him back on track even better. He'll start that field goal streak again. So, but as far as like the offense, Aaron Rodgers has been looking pretty good. That first week really took his stats like out. So, like, when you look at his stats, they're like a few hundred yards below and a couple touchdowns below just because of week 1. But defense is okay. Just a lot of injuries. So, we'll know more about the Packers when we're healthy.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things with the Packers for them is that Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are such a good 1-2 punch right now. Both of them are doing so well. And we were worried about their offensive line to start the year because they lost Corey Linsley. They've had injuries at left tackle. But no, their running game has still looked pretty good. I do worry a little bit about their receiver depth because Cobb, I mean, he had one good game, but banged up MVS. Devin Funchess was done for the year, but I mean, when you've got Devontae Adams putting up 200 yards against the Bengals, you're going to be okay. Yeah. Moving on to number 5, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And honestly, I feel like this is the same spot the Bucs were going to be in last year. I know everybody was saying, "Oh, they're going to be the best team. They're going to be absolutely crazy. They're not going to lose a game." Come on, guys. That we all knew that wasn't going to happen. They won the Super Bowl, went 11-5 last year, and made a wild card spot. The Bucs are still a very, very good team. We finally got the showdown between Brady and Belichick on a Sunday night, which was that was one of the weirdest games I've ever watched. 19-17 in a freezing cold night in New England. Made no sense. But other than that, they have basically rolled over most teams. They're rolling over the Eagles right now. They're trying to put together a drive to score one more time before the half. Destroyed the Dolphins, obliterated the Falcons, even though they let them hang around for way too long. And in tough games, the only team they've lost to is the LA Rams, one of my favorite teams this year, to another really, really good team led by a veteran quarterback. But the Bucs still look great. Their defense still looks very good. Yes, they've been banged up, but their wide receiver core is ridiculously good.
Yeah, Tom Brady has every weapon he could ever use. And if his O-line is great, and he just has so much time to get it to anyone he wants. And even Leonard Fournette, I'm watching him consistently come out of the backfield, catching the ball, trucking people. Yep. I was just watching upstairs. I mean, it's the Eagles, but their defense isn't that bad. Right. I mean, but he's still trucking like 2 or 3 people at a time to just make those extra 3 yards for the first down. And it's like, I mean, Brady's great, but like he's also got weapons around him that make him better. So Buccaneers are good.
Yeah. Number 4. I'm excited to hear you talk about this one, man.
You are? All right.
Oh, yeah. I like
the
them.
LA Chargers. And AJ likes them. And I do think they have a cool color rush for their uniform.
Oh, yeah. All of their uniforms are crazy. Oh, my goodness. They're beautiful.
But you know what? The Chargers are not the best LA team, sadly. You know?
No, they're not.
Justin Herbert has been great. That was irrelevant. Sorry. Justin Herbert's been great. Their defense has been pretty good. It hasn't exactly like kept teams out of the end zone.
Yeah, i.e. watch the game against the Browns.
Yeah, but it's not letting them in freely except for the Browns. That was different because Nick Chubb is an absolute beast and no one can stop that man.
Georgia product.
You know what? Yeah, they're looking really good as a whole offense. That honestly, running the ball is getting better. Austin Eckler, he's great. They just got to find more room to carry the ball. I feel like they're just not getting enough snaps for the running back core.
Interesting.
Justin Herbert is great. Well, yeah, I mean, like you look at their average yards per carry, and it's up there with most of the other teams, but then you look at their yards per game, and it's lower than it's on the bottom half. So I guess that must mean they're not getting the ball enough. Unless I'm thinking weirdly, but I think that's how it works. Justin Herbert's great. He's looking better than last year, which is hard to believe, but it's true.
Yeah,
he's good, and their defense is good too.
Yeah, and I mean the resurgence, and the resurgence of Mike Williams. Finally, it took like 5 years, but now he's the X on the team over Keenan Allen at this point, which is crazy. Eckler has not missed a step from his injury last year. He's back to 100%. Their offense is nuts. It's ridiculous. It's a Madden cheat code.
Yeah, and that's why I think they should give Eckler the ball more.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's getting screens out of the backfield. That's part of the reason why his rushing totals aren't as high, because he's such a good pass catcher.
That's true.
Yeah. But moving on to number 3. It's the other side of LA, and I said at the beginning of the year, this is one of my favorite teams, this is one of my favorite players, the LA Rams. And oh my goodness, Matthew Stafford has a team around him and a defense to support him, and I literally could not be happier for him. I'm so excited, man. Start off the year destroying the Bears. Game 1, Cooper Kupp is looking like a true X over the first few weeks, and everyone thought Robert Woods was going to go down quietly. Get out of here. He dominated against the Seattle Seahawks. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are going back to their 1-2 punch once again. You cover one of them, the other one's going to get over. And then you've got Van Jefferson and Djax, 39 or however old Djax is, as your deep threats. Henderson's running the football well. Sony ain't doing bad in his absence. And, of course, the defense is great. And, of course, they got one of my favorite players in football, Matthew Stafford. Yes, they lost to the Cardinals at home. Tough loss. Rivalry games are always hard. They also knocked off the Bucs. And then on top of facing the Cardinals, losing to them, then they had to go on short rest and play in Seattle. And guess what? They beat them too. Granted, they were helped out by the fact Russell goes out in the second half. But still, Rams are great. They're a formidable team, and they are hard to beat right now.
Yeah. Alrighty. I think you said it all about the Rams.
Gotcha. I'm pretty excited about them, if you couldn't tell.
I know. I can tell. Matthew Stafford's making you pretty hyped.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, number 2, let's go with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Lost week 1, but AJ, you said that doesn't really count because that's week 4 of the preseason.
Oh, my gosh. I'm not even the one who came up with that phrase.
But you know what? Their offense has been just up there with the best, probably the best red zone offense.
Yeah.
Just because you have the fact that Josh Allen can now both truck and hurdle people. You know what? Josh Allen's been great. Devin Singletary has been pretty good. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah. And now Zach Moss is the goal line back, too.
Zach Moss is back. Yeah, so should be interesting to see them continue to keep going. I just love watching Stephon Diggs.
He's been quiet though this year.
But he's
Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox. It's like, but now their team has even more weapons.
But it's because Stephon Diggs is over there getting triple teamed.
Yep.
Triple coverage. And he's fun to watch. He'll still sometimes break tackles and stuff, but he's still leading their team for receiving yards. He hasn't been their main red zone threat. That's been actually Emmanuel Sanders, who's received 4 touchdowns. So that's a little weird. I wouldn't have expected that. But as you said, Dawson Knox has been coming out recently because
he's the new Robert Tonyan. He's the new Robert Tonyan this year.
Robert Tonyan. He's their best red. He has the most touchdowns.
Yeah,
he has 1 more touchdown than Sanders. He has 5 already.
It's nuts.
He's the Robert Tonyan.
Yep,
that is actually weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Either way, even though Stephon Diggs has only had 1 receiving touchdown, he's still fun to watch. He's not the fastest guy. He's not necessarily like the best route runner, the most shifty person, but somehow he just always finds a way to get open.
He's great at everything. He's just great at everything. He has no weakness.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
In the last 4 games, the Bills have averaged 39 points per game. 39. That's nuts.
That's weird. All right, well, AJ, would you like to introduce the number 1 team after week 5, going into week 6 in the NFL?
Yep.
I'm kind of excited about this one. This is let me just preview this one.
Go ahead.
This is a quarterback I had no faith in.
Yeah.
Before this season. I was like, this team's going to be terrible. This quarterback, what is happening? And I think AJ had similar feelings. But here we are, the number 1 team in the NFL heading into week 6.
Yep.
AJ?
Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold can run the football. DJ Moore is an X. Yeah, they've lost 2 games. Whatever. They haven't had McCaffrey. Do you know how they're going to look when they get him back? And their defense is looking so much better. Okay, joke's over. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Come on, guys. Hopefully that made you laugh. The Cardinals are the only undefeated team left in the NFL currently. Caban came up with that one. Credit to him. Yeah. Only undefeated team left. Granted, they haven't had the hardest schedule. We'll give them that. They knocked off the Titans, who aren't even on our top 10 list. They beat the Jaguars, the 49ers, and Trey Lance in his first ever start in Arizona. Who knew what that was going to look like? But they knocked off a Vikings team that has a great offense, and they took down the Rams on the road 37-20. Kyler's looking like an MVP candidate. James Conner's running it in once they get to the 5-yard line. Chase Edmonds is looking like Austin Eckler light. He's running great, getting mad catches, 6 catches out of the backfield a week, and their defense is still just as good as it is last year. Isaiah Simmons coming out of nowhere. Jordan Hicks is great. Budda Baker's still a lockdown safety. And Caban and I said this before. Sure, we might think, the Bills are playing better right now than the Cardinals, especially after what they put on last week over Kansas City when Arizona had a rough week against the 49ers. Arizona's the only undefeated team left. They haven't lost. And until they do, how do you not put them at number 1?
Yeah. It's tough, but like you said, the Bills are great, but Cardinals are undefeated, and they also beat the Rams.
Yep. Who are our number 3 team right now.
The Bills beat the Chiefs, who haven't cut our top 10 because Super Bowl hangover, possibly. I don't know, AJ. We don't know about that. But you know what? The Cardinals are great. I started having a little bit more faith in Kyler Murray right before the season started, and I don't know why I did. Yeah. But I remember in an episode, you were like, so who's the worst team in the NFC West?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to answer this question because I was like, I'm going to be wrong. I know I'm going to be wrong. But I said the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I said it, and you were like, really? I thought it was going to be the Cardinals because of how they take out Kyler Murray. And I was like, you know what? There's going to be something there with D-Hop. D-Hop did this. And I guess I was right. I probably still didn't have enough faith in Kyler Murray, but he is looking great. And you know what, AJ? We have our first comment
There he
And
is.
it's Lightning Bauer.
Of course, our man.
Thank you, Lightning Bauer.
What's up, dude?
For tuning in.
Yeah, let us know. What's your number one team in the NFL right now?
Number one team.
Oh yeah. And this is something I've pointed out on Roto Hackers because of how frustrating it is for fantasy. Who knew the Cardinals were going to have one of the best wide receiver corps in football? D-Hop, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, Max Williams, Chase Edmonds. Nobody knows who the touch and AJ Green. AJ Green had 4 straight games with six targets and multiple touchdowns. What is going on? You can't decide on who to cover because literally everybody in that receiving core could get a touchdown at any given moment. Yeah. I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming.
All right. Well, Lightning Bauer says now. AJ, you want to click or you want me to?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. You probably already covered this, but is there a Super Bowl hangover happening? AJ, let's talk about this in a later episode because I feel like this deserves its own one.
Sure, let's do it.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, AJ, awesome. Is this it? This is our top 10. Should we just review? 10 was the
Cleveland Browns. 9
Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals.
8 Ravens. 7 Cowboys, I believe you said.
Cowboys are 7.
6 Packers. 5 Buccaneers. 4
Chargers.
3 Rams. 2. Forgot the team. Oh yeah, the Bills. That's
there you
the
go.
Team. And number 1, not the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals.
There
and
you
AJ,
go.
You said you have some questions for me now.
I do. I've got a couple. Caven, who's your most disappointing team right now in the NFL?
Most disappointing team right now?
Yeah.
You know what? That's tough, but let's look at these things.
All right, while you're thinking about it, I'll give mine. For me, it's Indy. Come on. Okay. This is a team that everybody was expecting to be great. Wentz was coming back. JT was awesome.
It's Carson Wentz.
And their defense was supposed to be just as good. But they had injuries on their offensive line. They had retirements. Carson Wentz messed up both ankles on the same play. And they are not scoring much. They put up 16 on Seattle, 16 in Tennessee, choked against Baltimore. I'm kind of disappointed in the Colts. They're barely scoring any points, and granted they've had a tough schedule. Getting the Seahawks, Rams, your rival the Titans, and the Ravens as 4 of your first 5 games is brutal. And Miami, who we all thought was going to be great going into this year. That's a brutal schedule. I'll give them that all day. But the fact that they haven't put up more than 27 points the whole year, the Colts are my most disappointing team right now. 1-4 in the easiest division in football.
And I think that was going to be mine, but another one for me is the Titans. You have King Henry, and you have Ryan Tannehill, and I know A.J. Brown and Julio were injured.
Yeah.
But, be better. They're not gone that long. It's you've got to be better. Their defense is just absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I think that's their main problem, yeah.
Their defense is no better than last year's.
Yeah.
But you look at their offense, and it hasn't been bad since week 1. It's the Cardinals. Sure, you lose to them. It's week 1.
Our best team, and it's what we call the best team in football.
It's the best team. Then you beat Seattle, who knows what's up with them, actually. Yeah. They're just a weird team.
Yeah.
But your defense still let up 30 points.
Had to go to overtime for it.
Let up 38. Next game, you get the Colts. Nice. Great job. Okay, but then you lose to the Jets, and that's probably the most disappointing thing.
But keep in mind, that is the game they didn't have Julio or A.J. Brown. Keep that in mind.
And also keep in mind, that is the day, I think the day before I said, the Jets are going to win a game this year.
Yep.
I don't know when, but they won it. They won it the next day. So, but then you beat Jacksonville, but I felt like they could have handled that team better. It was still, the score still showed that they played well. But there was still just so many errors. I'm looking back, and it's this could have been better. That touchdown could have been prevented. And it's just those simple things that really control a team and have a big effect on a team. I think besides the Colts, Titans are my most disappointing team.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like the Titans have definitely faced some adversity. I think the one bright spot on their team is still Derrick Henry. And as we all knew he was going to wreck the Jaguars because if there's one thing Derrick Henry does, it's absolutely destroy the Jacksonville Jaguars every single year. So they're winning games they're supposed to win, but it's not very convincing. That's what it is. So on the flip side, Cade, who's your most surprising team so far this year?
Let's see. Maybe the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking back and I was probably thinking Dak Prescott coming off of a big injury.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how he'll look.
Yeah.
Or even if he'll be like good enough to play. Who knows? Yeah. Like I think by the time we talked about this kind of stuff, we probably knew Dak was going to play, but I didn't think he was going to be as great. He might be better than last year. I mean, he's just looking so good. Zeke had a slow start to the season. It's McCarthy. He likes to throw the ball. It's not necessarily his fault. But Tony Pollard is good. He's a good backup.
Yeah.
And when they need that extra yards or just whatever, he's there. So defense is a lot better. I think we already talked about it. Their defense is way better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For me, I think it's Cincinnati. Like I said, I wasn't optimistic about him because I didn't think they did anything to protect Joe Burrow. And then I wasn't excited about their defense. Look at this. Their defense only allowed 100 points. That is best in their division. You're in a division with Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. If there is anything these three teams have been known for, it's their defense, and yet your defense, Cincinnati, is the one that has allowed the least amount of points in your division. Granted, you played the Steelers, you played the Bears, you played the Jaguars. You haven't had the hardest schedule when it comes to offensive teams, but you almost beat the Packers, only lost because of a couple missed field goals, and knocked off the Vikings in OT in week 1 against a team that has a really good offense. I'm proud of the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been 5 weeks, and they look really good.
Joe Burrow's finally doing some stuff.
Yeah, well, because he actually has more people to throw to as well. He's got a full receiver core now. 2 years with T. Higgins, 2 years with Tyler Boyd, and you got that LSU connection with Jamar Chase. What else could you ask for? Well, an offensive line.
All right. Well, we got Lightning Bauer. He says Chiefs are his most disappointing team.
Yeah.
But Lightning Bauer, is it really? Because I believe you thought it was going to be Super Bowl hangover time.
Yeah. Is it disappointing if you think it's going to be a Super Bowl hangover? Because then you call it. I don't know. So then
it's just that Patrick Mahomes and they're I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like one of the biggest problems with the Chiefs is that people finally figured out how to cover Tyreek Hill. If we remember the Super Bowl when they just played two deep safeties, so you couldn't throw it over the top, literally everybody is doing that now. Yeah, Tyreek's had like one blow-up game, but Bills locked him up. Chargers locked him up. And granted, they've had a brutal schedule. They had to take Cleveland, Baltimore, rivalry game with the Chargers, and the Bills in 4 out of their first 5 weeks. But that's what you get as the AFC champion. You expect it to be great, so you need to go up against some of the best teams. And they just had a hard time finishing. Couldn't finish against the Chargers, barely finished against the Browns, couldn't finish against the Ravens, and got blown out by the Bills. Rough schedule.
For real.
And they just haven't been as good last year. Teams are starting to figure them out.
Yep. All right. Well, folks, I believe that is our top 10 power ranking teams for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully
let us know.
Can beat these Buccaneers so that we can take them off this list or at least plop them up in a lower seed.
You might be waiting on that. It's 21-7 at halftime, buddy, and the Eagles have 73 yards of total offense.
Come on, people. Well, yeah, viewers, let us know what your top 10 agreements, disagreements. Just put anything in the comments section. It's all fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Catch you next time.
AJ, this has been the one and only Alley Bravos podcast. And after this, I'm going to ask AJ a big question.
And I don't even know what this is.